What is up, guys? Welcome back to YouTube Relic, and today for our last band of ranking month, of course, we got what I'd say is the best band of all time, but actually my third favorite band of all time, the Beatles, of course. I mean, these guys. Paul McCartney is my favorite musician of all time, and rest in peace to John and George. Ringo's a great guy too. They were just some of the most talented people of all time, made some of the best songs, and of course made music till we know today. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't have all these production methods, and we wouldn't have rock and heavy metal and pop as we know it. They are amazing. I'm actually going to be including 12 albums. I'm not including Yellow Submarine, because though that is a decent album and there are some good songs on it, half of it is just George Martin's string arrangements, and that if I included it, it would be last anyway. So yeah, let's get into this ranking. I own 6 of their 12 albums on CD, and I actually own Sgt. Pepper's on vinyl, but I don't have it out here. Of course, there's my poster. Let's get into our final video of ranking month after the intro.
Here you go.
Okay, guys, sorry if the camera moved a bit after that intro. I had to move it for a minute because my phone was on silence and it annoyed me. But yeah, let's get into my least favorite Beatles album, which I think all these actually these top 10 are just all amazing albums, and the bottom 2 are good albums, I'd say. They're kind of meh for me. But my least favorite Beatles album is from 1964, Beatles for Sale. Yeah, there's some great songs on here. I'm a Loser, No Reply is a great opener, and of course 8 Days a Week. I love those 3 songs, but the Beatles started out as a boy band kind of, and a really good one at that. It's just they started to experiment after that Indian trip, and then they became, as we know, one of the greatest bands of all time. In my opinion, the greatest band, and my third favorite band ever. Yeah, I really like those 3 songs, but there's some really bad originals on here. Album was very rushed to get it out for the holidays, and tracks like Mr. Moonlight, not good. There's some stuff on here I honestly just don't like, but those 3 songs that I mentioned are very good. Other one that I think is not the best is With the Beatles from 1963. Again, 3 really good tracks on here. It won't be long. All My Loving and Money, That's What I Want. Those 3 songs are just so great. Again, boy band stuff, but this one, I think this one actually has more duds than Beatles for Sale, but I just think that the 3 really good tracks are a bit better. There's some, Ringo songs in here are not good. There's even some duds from Paul and John and I don't even remember some of the songs in here. It's that forgettable. But from here on out, we get into some 8.5 out of 10 and past albums. And coming in at number 10, this is a great album. We have the debut, Please Please Me, released in 1963. All recorded in one day, pretty much. I mean, that is impressive. Of course, you begin with All I Saw Her Standing There. Still an amazing track. Please Please Me, love the harmonica. Kind of a progressive song for the time. And Twist and Shout, I know it's a cover, but the vocals on that one are so good, and it's so iconic. They basically just made it their own, and it's basically an original at this point by them. It's such a great debut. There might be a few tracks I'm not the biggest fan of, but Anna Go To Him, I think, is a really underrated track as well. What a great way to start your careers, and you can definitely see, especially maybe not George and Ringo yet, but you can definitely see that Paul and John are forces to be reckoned with, and the other 2 would follow along and grow to pretty much equals as the other 2. Maybe in 1965 they really did, especially towards the latter of their career. But maybe not my favorite, obviously not. But coming up next, I have their last album, a weird Beatles album, Let It Be, released in 1970, their only 70s album. It even says on the back, this is a New Face Beatles album. Most of this album is actually just what they performed on the live rooftop concerts. Almost all the videos from here are from the live rooftop concert. Even all the photos in the booklet are from it, which is pretty cool. The songs on this album are Two of Us, Dig a Pony, Across the Universe, I'm You Mine, Dig It, Let It Be, Maggie May, I've Got a Feeling, One After 909, The Long and Winding Road, For You Blue, Get Back. So the only tracks on here that weren't, the songs that weren't recorded in the rooftop concert were actually Phil Spector's string arrangements to it. Which, honestly, Let It Be Naked, I want to get that album sometime because it is by far miles away better than Let It Be, the regular album. Because, one, Phil Spector just screwed up everything with his string arrangements. I'm sorry. Or orchestral, whatever you want to say. And also, why is Don't Let Me Down not on here? Don't Let Me Down is on the Let It Be Naked. So, along with that, I just think that Let It Be Naked's a better album. But we're doing, of course, the regular UK releases along with Magical Mystery Tour. So, gotta go off this. And Let It Be has 5 of their greatest songs that I absolutely love. And those tracks are Two of Us, Across the Universe, the titled track, Long and Winding Road, and Get Back. I think those 5 songs are amazing. But then you have just some of these jammy songs that I don't really like. I've never really liked Dig It Pony that much. Dig It and Maggie May are just 2 like 20-30 second songs of them just messing around. Whatever, they're kind of fun, but I mean, I've never liked I Got a Feeling. For You Blue, I don't remember anything from that song, and I've listened to this album quite a few times. I got it for Easter. So yeah, I've listened to it maybe 4 or 5 times. There's 5 really good songs in here, and the rest is just okay. But it still comes out as a great album. Maybe not the most experimental, more of a rocking album, kind of a cut back to the originals kind of stuff, except not like all into love. Great album, good way to go off, because I think Let It Be, the title track, like Let It Be, we're done with it. That's a great kind of swan song for them. Don't know why it's not the closer, but hey, it's a very, very good album. And I think it just barely doesn't scrape the next album. I think it's pretty equal with this following album. Help, from 1965. There's some amazing tracks in here. The title track, When I Was Younger, So Much Younger Than Today. That's probably the essential track on here. Got to Hide Your Love Away. Really kind of like rustic track that I really like. Ticket to Ride, of course. And, of course, Yesterday. Beautiful song. No wonder it's the most covered song. The lyrics on there, and I love Paul on it. Again, I absolutely love those 4 songs. And I think almost every single track on here is great. Until after Yesterday ends, it's such a like kind of like nostalgic, melancholy song with the strings as it fades out. Then you have Disney Miss Lizzie with the most annoying guitar tone I've ever heard. Na 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 na. Along with it being just a meh cover, the fact that it's placed right after as a filler right after Yesterday, which would make the greatest closer of all time with its guitar tones, is why I hate it so much. But it's still not like the worst, but as I said, just because of that guitar tone and the fact that it's placed after Yesterday makes me want to hate it a lot. But again, these albums from 10 on up I just think are amazing. And honestly, I would give all these albums 10s from here on out. And the first out of these 10s I have Magical Mystery Tour. I don't know when this was released. Yeah, I don't. I think it was either 66 or 67. This is pure, psychedelic Beatles. The track listing on this is the title track, The Fool in the Hill, Flying Blue Jay Way, Your Mother Should Know, I'm the Walrus, plus these other selections with Hello, Goodbye, Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, Baby, You're Rich Man, All You Need Is Love. Yeah. The second half of this thing, okay, you know what, actually, I think, the top 6 is 10 out of 10. So I would give this a 9.5 because I think the second half of this thing, those last 5 tracks, as I said, Hello, Goodbye, Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, Baby Richmond, All You Need Is Love. Those 5 songs are all 10 out of 10. Those are all some of the greatest songs of all time. Hello, Goodbye was one of my favorite songs when I was younger because the Beatles and probably Imagine Dragons were my 2 favorite bands when I was like 5. They're still my 3rd favorite band, and I do think that they're the best band ever. There Goes the CD. I just think that song is so nostalgic, and it's a fun little ditty. Strawberry Fields Forever, maybe the greatest, like with Bohemian Rhapsody, some of the greatest songs of all time. Penny Lane, Baby You're Rich Man, all You Need Is Love. Love the melodies and horns in that. Those last 5 songs are perfect, all 10 out of 10. The first half of this thing is why I wouldn't say it's a perfect album. The title track never really got into that much. I will say The Fool in the Hill, I do really like that track. Flying is just a boring kind of instrumental. Blue Jay Way, Mother Should Know, never really like those songs. I'm the Walrus, though, that's another 10 out of 10. So, like, the first half is, like, 2 good songs and just a lot of throwaways, but the second half, man, oh my gosh. There's so many heavy hitters in that one. But it just, for me, I think if they, like, maybe removed Flying and kind of spread out the good tracks, I think that could be a lot higher. But my number 6 is going to surprise lots of people. I have it on vinyl. It's Rolling Stone's greatest album of all time. I have Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band from 1967. That is right. This might be one of my longer rankings because it's just so good to talk about the Beatles, and it's our finale of ranking month. I'm going to take a bit of a break after this, but we'll get to that. But yeah, my main problem with that album, I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of good songs. I like the title track. I like Maxwell Silver Hammer, and this is going to be a hot take. I'm kind of with John on this one. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, I don't like it that much. I know he hated it. I don't like it that much. Like, I like the ning, ning, ning. I like that, and I do like the verses, but the chorus I think is just kind of stupid. And, like, the harmonies, like, the Beatles, oh my gosh, especially John and Paul, their harmonies are unmatched with. Always going to be the best at that. They're up there with Queen for the best harmonies. I don't like the harmonies in that, and I just think the lyrics are kind of stupid. There's lots of mess songs. Never really got into Lovely Rita, but there are 3 of their best songs on here. With and Without You. Oh my gosh. George just pretty much an equal with them at that point. When I'm 64, Simple Little Ditty, and of course A Day in the Life. The lyricism, how it ends, like really like bam, man, the horns and strings build up and it just cuts off. Bam. What an ending. Maybe their greatest song. I think those 3 songs are just amazing. And the rest I just think is good. And I don't know why. Like, I understand how it's all leads into each other, which I think is a good reason. I understand why Rolling Stone and other people have this as their best album, but in my opinion, 3 of their best and the rest, all very, very overrated. But as we enter the top 5, as I said, I still think that album's a 10. I just think it's very overrated. But as we enter the top 5, we have, I think, by far, their best of their early work.
Why do they all look like the same person?
A Hard Day's Night. That was very anticlimactic.
A Hard Day's Night. Oh, yeah.
This is their first album with all originals. And though there isn't a lot of Paul or Ringo on here, they still do very good jobs as instrumentalists. The track listing on this is the title track, A Hard Day's Night. I should have known better. If I fell, I'm happy just to dance with you. And I love her. Tell me why. Can't buy me love. Anytime at all. Cry instead. Things we said today. When I get home. You can't do that and I'll be back. The first half of this album, I think, is perfection. Just like how the second half of Magical Mystery Tour is perfection. But I don't think there's any duds on this one, which is why I think it's a 10 out of 10. And as I said, by far, best smelling booklet and their best of their early work. Like A Hard Day's Night, from the opening string. Ding! It's been a hard day's night. Maybe my favorite early track by them. Oh my gosh. I really like I Should Have Known Better and If I Fell. Those are both great songs too. Like, and I'm happy just to dance with you, and I love her. Tell me why. Those are underrated songs that nobody talks about those songs, and I love them all. And of course, there's Can't Buy Me Love. Maybe a bit tired of it, but I still think it's an amazing track. Those first 7 songs are perfection. I'll Cry Instead, a very short track, but I still like that one. And I think, like, Anytime at All is pretty catchy too. Things We Say Today, When I Get Home, You Can't Do That are my favorites, but they're still good tracks. And I'll Be Back kind of pulls the album back. It's an amazing closer. I think this album's perfect and their best of their early work. What an album, man. But these top 4, oh my gosh, the Beatles are just like, it almost makes me cry, these men, how, like, amazing they truly, truly were. And this is up next year at number 4. I have Rubber Soul, 1965, the album that kind of changed them, you know? They were not the most experimental, but for the time, amazingly experimental. And they were pretty much, like, done with, like, that boy band stuff. Drive My Car, You Won't See Me, Nowhere Man, In My Life. Oh my gosh, what a track. The lyrics, it's so melancholic. The guitar riff, man, it just, In My Life, is just so good. It should have been the closer. And my main problem with this album is the last track, Run For Your Life. I'd rather see you dead, little girl. In My Life is such a good song. One of my favorite songs of all time. Why is it not the closer? It's such a good song. Just like Yesterday, as they have these blunders of putting the wrong song last. You put the only bad songs on both albums. So like with Help, you have Dismiss Lizzie, and you have Run For Your Life on this one. The only bad songs on these respective albums. Put them last. Instead, you have the perfect closers there. I don't know, but like the harmonies on Nowhere Man, oh my gosh, like Norwegian Wood. So many great tracks. I just think this is a perfect album. So good. It's better than Sgt. Pepper's, but it's not my absolute favorite because the Beatles are just so good at their craft. They write just some of the best tunes along with being experimental and being so good at songwriting. And my third favorite Beatles album. These top 3 are all contenders in my top 20 favorite albums of all time. we have Abbey Road. Boom. Oh my gosh, Abbey Road. If you consider this your favorite Beatles album, I understand. Honestly, top 10 and up, if you think any of these albums are your favorite, I understand. I don't really understand if you think it's With the Beatles or Beatles for Sale, but the top 10 and up, I understand. Yeah, I'll read the track list here. We got Come Together, Something, Maxwell Silverhammer, Oh Darling, Octopus's Garden, I Want You. Here Comes the Sun, Because You Never Give Me Your Money. Oh my gosh, how many good songs are on here? Those are like the regular tracks. And then we have the Abbey Road medley, which is so darn good. Sun King, Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam, Smells Like Ham. She Came Through the Bathroom Window, Golden Slumbers Carried That Way, The End, and Her Majesty. Which, Her Majesty, though it isn't part of the medley and kind of ruins the vibe of the medley, especially the ending off it, I still think Her Majesty is a nice little ditty that they could have put somewhere in the medley, not at the end. Like how it like moves panning from side to side. Majesty's a pretty nice girl. I think it's catchy. But yeah, especially Golden Slumbers and Carry That Weight. Those tracks are so good. We get a drum solo from Ringo. Amazing. But like the actual songs, along with the medley being maybe the greatest achievement of Paul's amazing career. Perfect career, I'd say. Like, Come Together, Something, George writing in a love song like that just proves that All Things Must Pass is going to be an all-time classic. I mean, I Want You, She's So Heavy, along with Helter Skelter and Revolution, the first three heavy metal songs leading up to Black Sabbath and the true start of heavy metal, Beatles did it all. I'm telling you. Like, I'll talk to my friends that aren't really they're more into rap and recent music. The Beatles are so overrated. And then I'm like, okay, name a song from the 60s. My friend literally says, Here Comes the Sun. That's the Beatles. And he's like, oh wait, what about that Come Together song? That's the Beatles. And now he literally says Rubber Soul's his favorite album of all time. Very good. Okay. I can't believe this isn't number one on a list. This would be number one literally any other list, unless we're talking about Tears for Fears, because then there would be songs from The Big Chair. But we have Revolver. Oh my gosh, I love Revolver so much. It's my second favorite Beatles album. I mean, every single song on here, I'd say this is their most consistent, amazing album. Every song on here hits so good. I mean, to start out an album with not one of the two main singers, you started with George with Taxman. Simple song, but it's a rocker. The guitar work in that, oh my gosh. I'll just read all the songs. Again, all these songs are amazing. Taxman, Eleanor Rigby, I'm Only Sleeping, Love You Too, Here, There, and Everywhere, Yellow Submarine, She Said, Good Day, Sunshine, And Your Bird Can Sing for No One, Dr. Robert, I Want to Tell You, Got to Get You in My Life, and Tomorrow Never Knows. To end this album with Tomorrow Never Knows, my favorite Beatles song of all time, that just introduced looping to the world and like reverse techniques with that guitar solo, the lyrics. It sounds so good. It gives me chills. And honestly, it sounds so good for the 60s. Like, what is this, 1966? Oh my gosh, one of, if not one of my favorite songs of all time. It's up there. Like, it's top 5. It's my favorite Beatles song. And of course, like Eleanor Rigby, from Paul writing P.S. I Love You to a woman like with All the Lonely People. Oh my gosh, like wears a face that she keeps in a jar. This is poetry. Love that track. The string arrangements too. Love You Too. Indian instrumentation, of course. Here, There, and Everywhere. Love. It's an amazing love song. Good Day, Sunshine. Happy song. It used to be one of my favorite songs. Gotta Get You Into My Life. Makes sense. It's about marijuana. Every song on here is a 10 in my opinion, except for Love You Too, which I'd give it a 9, and probably Dr. Robert, which is maybe an 8. Every single other song is a 10, and I do give this album a 10. It is their pretty much crowning achievement, and I think it's number 3 in Rolling Stone's top albums of all time. I think it deserves to be 1. I don't think it should be Sgt. Pepper's, because I think this did more for the world. Because it's still kind of their boy band, like they still look like the boy band people, but they are making some of the greatest music of all time. And John looks Asian. But, I'm sorry. My 4th favorite album of all time, guys, please go check out my top 10 favorite albums of all time video. It's one of my oldest videos on this channel. It's about 3 months old. Thank you for honestly, like all the success I've had. I've never had a channel grow this far, but my 4th favorite album of all
Honey pie, honey pie.
you guys guessed it, the White Album. I can't even read all the songs on here. Okay, and I know people have the thing to say. They're like, oh, there's so much filler on here. The only song I don't like on here is Why Don't We Do It in the Road. I honestly hate that song. Wild Honey Pie is too short to hate, and I think it's kind of fun. Revolution 9, even though I skip it every time, the first few times I listen to it, it's a really interesting track. And even, like, Don't Pass Me By, Ringo's song, you were in a car crash and you lost your hair. I love that. And Good Night's a beautiful way to off the album. But back in the USSR, the lead into Dear Prudence, maybe my favorite John ballad. Like, ugh, oh my gosh, Glass Onion with all, like, the throwbacks to their old music. Oh, blah, dee, blah, da. I really like that song. Bungalow Bill, of course. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, maybe George's crowning achievement. Happiness is a Warm Gun. That song is a trip. That song is a trip. Martha, My Dear, even though it's about a dog, it's so cute. Blackbird used to be my favorite song ever, maybe like last year. It's still it's in my top 5 favorite Beatles songs. As I said, my favorite Beatles song is Tomorrow Never Knows, but in my top 5, the other 4 tracks, or the other 4 songs in it, are all from this album. Piggies is fun, Rocky Raccoon, Birthday, Year Blues, underrated track. Another underrated one with Mother Nature's Son. Revolution 1, I really like it, but I obviously prefer regular Revolution. Honestly, like, this album just has so much variety, it has so much charm, and it is their absolute peaks. Like, these men, honestly, were just some of the greatest people ever. And my CD fell out, so let's just put that one back in. Yeah, it is their absolute peaks, and, like, I've always loved what maybe my favorite thing about the Beatles, along with how catchy their tunes are, is that their variety is unmatched, and this is their pure variety album. You have the Indian stuff, you have the rocking stuff, you have, like, the 50s stuff, you have the futuristic stuff, and the avant-garde. And, of course, Helter Skelter, the first heavy metal song. Oh my gosh, I think everybody would have this as their favorite Beatles album. If you think about it, the singles, if instead they put singles on their albums, that means Hey Jude would have been in place for Revolution 9, and the regular Revolution would have been for Revolution 1. If those 2 tracks were placed, what I just said, oh my gosh, everyone would have had this at number 1. And it might be my favorite album of all time if those 2 were on it. Even though they're not, this also comes with the Escher demos, but even though they're not, it is still my favorite Beatles album. Even though I don't think it's perfect album, I give it a 10, and I could talk about the Beatles all day. It's just, yeah, say what you want. Say, oh, yeah, they're overrated. Give them a listen, please. Like, this takes so much time, but it will be worth it. I know you'll love at least 2 tracks on here. There's, like, maybe 25-star songs on here. I can't stop talking about it. I'm just going to stop it right now. The White Album is my favorite Beatles album. My 4th, maybe even more favorite album ever. Oh my gosh, it's such a heavy hitter. What a way to end off ranking month with the White Album. Like, how else would you want to end it off?
Thanks for watching this video. Now look at this person. And again, thank you for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe, even though Burlick is bad. Anyways, bye.